What's going on, guys? This is Malcolm. You're on Malcolm Talks. How y'all feeling? Y'all doing all right? That's good, man. That's real good. Right now it's Thursday. I'm headed to work, and just wanted to do this random video about just protecting yourself. You know, especially if you have a family, if you're married, and you have people that depend on you. You know, having the means to protect you, yourself, and your family is important. You know, so in this video, I'm just going to kind of talk about that and talk about EDC, talk about preparedness, talk about firearms, talk about different things that I chose to do with my personal setup. You know, I'm not going to really show a lot of the tools on this particular video. This is more just a conversation. I want to start doing more videos like this, just kind of that runs the gamut on all the different things that I think about and deal with, and maybe you do the same. So anyway, I've been looking at Palmetto State Armory for quite some time. They're a company. They sell a lot of parts, like firearm parts. But here recently, and I say recently, like maybe the past few years or whatever, they started selling something called a PSA Dagger, which is a Glock Gen 3 clone. And so basically there was a patent or whatever that ran out on Glock, the Gen 3s. Now Gen 3 Glock, you know, is obviously the Glock 19 was supposed to be one of the most reliable guns ever created. And everybody and their mama owned the Glock. Well, the funny thing with me, I never owned the Glock. Never owned a Glock a day in my life. So when I stumbled across PSA, or Palmetto State Armory, and I was looking on their website and I heard about the Palmetto State Armory Dagger, I was like, let me find out some more information about this. Well, come to find out, man, PSA, they have so many different specials and stuff that they run where you can pretty much create your own gun and it be the same reliability and have more features and look better than a Glock. Because I was looking to so here's my story. So right around COVID, I didn't grow up with guns in the house. None of my, my family members, they really shunned having weapons, guns and stuff like that. My mom, she was a big person, like she hated guns. She wouldn't even let us have water guns. Like it was bad. And so as I got older, I started doing a little more research or whatever, and right around COVID is when I just said, you know what, I need to get strapped, because you just never know what's going on in the world right now. We have this right as citizens. It's just important to, be able to protect yourself, because you never know what could happen. But anyway, I just went out and started buying guns. I probably bought 5 guns, and I put them all on my credit cards. Dumbest thing I could have ever done. If I could do it all over again, I would not have done that, because I was just buying guns. I didn't even really research them very much. So I bought like 5 or 6 different guns. One of the guns I bought, I think it was called a TAC Pro. It was some type of shotgun, but it was a semi-automatic shotgun that looked like a rifle. It was beautiful. It was like, I think $900 I paid for that. And when I bought it, it's like I just felt this rush, just like, man, I know this is probably not a good idea, but they said a shotgun is good for home defense, so yeah, let me get that one. So I went ahead and got it. I never even shot it. I never even shot the damn thing, but it was beautiful. It was like a desert tan. It looked just like a rifle. It could hold like maybe 7 shotgun shells or whatever. It was semi-automatic. it was beautiful, but I never shot it. It ended up costing me $900. I also got a Car K9 Elite. A Car K9 Elite. It was a little 9mm semi-automatic. I guess you can call it a compact. It wasn't quite micro compact, but it was small. All metal frame, beautiful. Looked great. But they basically sold me. It was like $650. And I was like, yeah, let me get that one. Because the guy was telling me, it was like, car is a great gun. Da, 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 da. And I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up buying that one. I took that to the range a few times. I might have put 150 rounds through it. And every time I shot it, the damn thing jumping out my hand, and you know, it just wasn't comfortable. It was like it was hurting the back of my thumb. And I'm like, damn, is this what shooting guns is supposed to feel like? Because I hadn't even shot them before. You know, this was like right around COVID. I had a come to Jesus meeting, and I was like, I need to learn this stuff. This stuff needs to stop being so taboo. You know, I was raised a certain way, but that doesn't mean I have to live the rest of my life being afraid of guns and being afraid of firearms and not wanting to even, you know what I mean? So it was something that was implanted in me that I had to erase, basically. So I'm going to the range with these guns, and I'm learning them. Like I said, I never even shot the shotgun, but I did shoot that car K9 about 150, 200 rounds maybe, and it was very uncomfortable. Jumping out of my hand, it looked amazing. It had that old school, like everything was stainless steel. The grip was kind of rubberized or something. Had a nice, what felt like a pretty nice grip. I remember the slide, like racking the slide was so hard. Like the spring in there was tight. But I was doing some research. They were like, yeah, you know, you got to shoot it a couple times, you know, put a few hundred rounds in it, it'll loosen up and all this stuff. The trigger, you know, I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. I'm just buying guns, you know. So at this point, I'm about $1,500 in on guns, okay? The next gun I bought, now mind you, I bought all of these guns probably within, if I'm being honest, I probably bought all these guns within about a 12-month period where I just went on a tear. You know, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. 2 months go by, here come another one, boom. So I see how, you know, people end up with these arsenals. It's just because you see something you like, you just buy it. And then with credit cards, you ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta have the money right then and there. But it will come back and bite you in your ass. So if you're going out there buying guns, please be careful. Because when you spend money on guns, don't think that you can just turn around and sell it and get your money back. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. I mean, depending on what gun you buy, I mean, you might be able to get half. If it's a Glock, you might be able to get a little more than half, maybe. You know, but if you go to try to trade it in somewhere at a gun store, oh, you ain't getting much. You know, you might be able to find like a private buyer or something like that. Well, you know, it just takes a lot of time. Anyway, the other gun I bought, it was actually a 22. It was a Ruger SR 22. Took 22 LR. You know, the little bullets. I got that in my mind. I was like, I'm gonna get this for my wife. It was purple. It was compact. It was like black and purple or whatever. The takedown was kind of easy. You know, you can clean it. I took it to the range. I probably it was 22, so you know I was shooting a lot of rounds with that. I probably put maybe another 250 rounds through that gun, and I liked it. I mean, it was actually pretty cool. It was fun to shoot. You know, very low recoil, obviously, because it was a 22 caliber. You know, which does not pack a whole lot of punch. I did notice, however, that it seemed like the gun would jam. I'm like, why is this gun jamming like this? But looking back, I think I had just a whole bunch of different type of ammo I was putting in it. And I've also heard that, see, and I still get confused on striker fire and all this other stuff, but I've heard that the mechanism by which a 22 round is shot, that in and of itself is going to make it a little more prone to get jam up or whatever. But anyway, that gun was kind of fun, man. You know, me and my wife, we went to the range. Excuse me. She was shooting it. Of course, you know, being accurate, that's like a whole nother conversation, because that's something I never really learned either. How to be, not how to be accurate, but how to adjust your sights, like how to make the gun your own. Because see, the way I see it, and I've never owned a red dot, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but I've been strictly iron sights with all of the guns I've ever bought. And so I'm looking at them, I'm trying to shoot, and I'm like, damn, why is it not going straight? Is something wrong with the gun? Then you start learning about, how to press the trigger, and some people wrap the finger around the trigger a little too much, or you might not be holding the gun properly, or the way you're squeezing, it's actually causing the gun to go like down left, or down right, rather, lower right. And so you're trying to make these adjustments and everything, and I'm like, it seems like I should be able to line up my sights for a bullseye, and I should be able to squeeze the trigger and hit bullseye. I shouldn't have to line up my sights like I'm shooting down left in order to hit bullseye. But these are still things that I'm learning in my journey with this whole thing. And then there's the whole thing about, like, as you squeeze the trigger, trying not to anticipate the bang, because the bang is what's going to make you be like, boom, So what happens is you anticipate that, and so you start tensing up right before you squeeze the trigger, which can impact your accuracy. So these are all little things that I haven't quite learned, but I just know about them cognitively, just based on things that I've seen, videos, things that I've read. Like, I understand what it is. Now I just need to, this second time around, I need to go out and put a few thousand rounds with this knowledge. And then what I started learning too, man, is that a lot of gun guys, a lot of people who are into guns, they did the same thing I did. It might not have been around COVID time that they bought all these guns, but when they first got into it, they bought a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't, if they could do it all over, they probably wouldn't. But when you look back on it, it's like, well, I had to do that in order to achieve this certain knowledge level that I'm at right now. Had I not made those mistakes, it would have been very difficult for me to, get to this point where it's like, I know a lot more now. And so that's what happens, man. You make mistakes and you learn from them. So now I'm on my third gun. So I think that Ruger, I think that was a good gun. I think that was a good gun. That's a gun that I'm mad I got rid of. Now, mind you, all the guns I'm telling you about, I sold them. I sold them all. I went to different gun shops. Different ranges and, different gun stores. And I was like, how much will you give me for this one? They were like, we'll give you $200. I'm like, $200? I paid $580 for this. That's the best you're going to get, buddy. I'm like, but I only put 100 rounds through it. We don't give a damn if you put 5,000 rounds through it. That's the one thing about guns. They're not sitting there. They don't have no way to count how many rounds you put through that gun. If that gun looks good and it's been well maintained and it's been oiled, somebody could bring a gun that's got 2,000 rounds in it. It's going to sell for the same amount as somebody who put 150 rounds in it. Because a lot of these guns are built to withstand tens of thousands of rounds. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to even get into carry, the type of gun that you want to carry, because see, those guns need to be tested, tried, and true. And some people say that you need to take that gun to the range and put 500 to 1,000 rounds in it without any hiccups whatsoever before you even think about carrying it, because the last thing you want to have happen is in a bad situation, you pull out the tool and it don't work properly. So, but anyway, so that was my third gun. I talked about the Ruger SR22, and I think I paid $460 for that one. Right around $460. So let's round up and say we right at about $2,000 that I had spent on guns, all on my credit card. None of this was cash, guys. This was all on nice, pretty, crisp, brand new credit cards. Thank you, Bank of America. Thank you, Capital One. You know what I'm saying? Giving me them big limits. I was like, yeah, this don't even feel like real money. It is. That money is real as hell, and they are coming after your ass. So just be very careful when you get these credit cards and you want to go out here and buy guns. And I know it's very tempting, because there's so many new ones coming out, man, and it's such a beautiful tool. Because I used to be a very big knife guy. I actually have a bushcraft channel. It's called MBD Bushcraft and Survival. Go check it out. But on that channel, I talk about a lot of my knives, axes, saws, going out into the woods, building shelters, just talking about preparedness, stuff like that, prepping. I like that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing with knives. You can become addicted to these things because each knife has its own special quality. And then the fact that you can use them, they have utility. It's the same thing with a gun. You get so much enjoyment from the use of it. And, once you get into it, the boogeyman goes away. You don't have this same boogeyman idea of knives and guns and, oh, they're going to hurt people. It's like, well, no, it's just a tool. It's just like a wrench or a hammer. You could hurt somebody with one of those too. So my thing is, it's about the person, understanding what you're doing. Oh shoot, I need to get over. Damn. Let me over, truck. What it do? What it do? Let your boy through. Yeah, we here now. Yeah, but so we had about $2,000. And so now the next gun that I got, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is in any particular order. I think it was just more of a rapid fire succession. I was just buying stuff. The next one I ended up getting, I got a CZ-P10F. Now, that CZ was nice as hell. And what's crazy is I think when I bought that gun, it only had I think it was only like $5 something. Like, it wasn't that expensive. It was like $5.50 or something like that. CZ-P10F. Now, that one, it was all black. And I remember I liked it because the capacity was so high. It was like 19 plus 1. I'm like, damn. And when I was holding it, it just felt great in the hand. It had that, the beaver tail, where you can really put your hand up in the weapon. I'm learning all these things as you go or whatever. But took it to the range. I'm at the range. I'm shooting it. I probably put maybe 100, 150 rounds through the CZ. Because I'm going to the range kind of regularly. When I say regularly, I mean like maybe once a month. You know what I mean? And each time I'm going, I'm putting maybe 100 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes I'll bring this gun. Sometimes I'll bring 2 of these. Sometimes, so it just spread out. And I would try to keep track. What happened was I created a Google form. I created a Google form with the names of my guns. I put them in a drop-down list. And the name, the number of rounds that I put through that gun on that range day, which range I went to. So I had it very laid out, like how many rounds and this and that, because if for some reason I was thinking, oh, this is going to be good for when it's time to sell the gun. And I don't care about none of that. At least not the places I went. They didn't care. Maybe a private buyer would. But, I mean, anybody can put together a spreadsheet and be like, yeah, I only put 200 rounds through it. No, the hell you didn't. You put 5,000 rounds through this gun and did a torture test, and you trying to sell it to me like it's new. But anyway, the CZ-P10F was a great gun. And I remember I ended up buying a weapon-mounted light. And I can't remember. I think it was a stream light. But it was around 110, 150s. Yeah, like 150, something like that. Because I remember I resold it for like $90, and I was kind of proud of myself. I'm like, damn, I actually got back the money. I mean, you buy something for $150 and then turn around and sell it for $90. That's pretty. I mean, that's decent. You got to feel the enjoyment of owning it, of shooting it at the range, of playing around with it, figuring out the controls or whatever. it just looks cool. You walking around the house, you know, and then you can sell it, get your money back, and you still keep that good feeling that you had. So it's almost like an extra payment of goodness that you received on top of the cash. But anyway, the CZP-10F, great gun. But again, it wasn't accurate. And I don't know if that was just me, how I was holding the gun, the fact that I had so many different guns. You know, you start learning about the angle of the grip and all this stuff. Like, once again, if I could go back, you know, I would definitely stick to one. You know, buy one. I probably would have bought a Glock. I definitely would have bought a Glock. I would have bought a Glock 19, or I would have bought a Glock 45, something that's gonna fit my hands. I got pretty big hands. You know, I'm like 6 feet, 210, something like that. So I mean, not that that matters. I mean, it's big guys with small hands, but I'm just saying, like, I think a full-size gun would have been good for me. That's why the CZ felt so nice. And mind you, I'm buying holsters. I'm going on eBay. I'm buying holsters, you know. So it was just nice, man. Like, damn, these things are nice as hell. I'm going to the range, but I'm sitting there. I'm at, you know, and that's another thing. When I went to the range, I was going at like, I was putting it like 20 yards, 30 yards. I'm sitting there shooting. I'm like, why can't I hit the bullseye? Come on, bro. Why am I trying to shoot so far away, man? You know, but these are things you learn. You know, this time around, I'm going to start off 10 yards, 15 yards, you know, get dialed in. Understand that most gunfights ain't going to be that far away. If you that far away, you ain't no sniper. What's going on? Start closer to really get that weapon dialed in. Because what I was doing was just going in there having fun. Really, I'm wasting bullets. And if you remember, man, during COVID and some years after COVID, ammunition was expensive as hell. I remember buying 9mm ammo, just ball ammo. Man, that shit was like 50 cents a round. So every time you go to the range and shoot twice, double shot, that's $1. And I was just burning through ammo, burning through guns, buying dumb shit. And it's like, wow, I'm really disrespecting the craft. You know, but like I said, you live and you learn. So the CZP-10F, that's the one I got the weapon mounted light. And that's when the light bulb started to click in my head, like, oh, wait a minute. You can accessorize these things and make them look much, much cooler. And you could also make it be a representation of you almost. It was almost like the way the CZP-10F looked, it reminded me of myself. Like I started to put myself as an extension of the gun. Like it was weird. But these are all things that starts happening once you start becoming, in my opinion, a fanatic of firearms and weaponry and all that stuff. Then you start looking at your EDC, your everyday carry. You're like, all right, my gun really kind of needs to match the knife. You know what I'm saying? So everything, you know, you want everything to start looking cool if you see yourself as cool, because all of it wraps up into one. The next gun I bought, what was the next one? Oh, yeah, yep. I bought a damn SAR. It was a SAR K9. I think it was a SAR K9. Something like that. But it was a 45 ACP. Big, all stainless steel. I think it had the single action, double action, the kind that you like click, click. And see, I still get confused about that too, like how to say it properly. I think I said that the right way. But it was a beautiful gun. I remember I saw it and I was like, damn, I like that. It was $750. I saw it and I was like, I got to have it, man. Put it on my credit card. Now, mind you, Now we're approaching $3,000 just in guns. I'm not even talking about ammo. I didn't buy a whole lot of ammo, but I spent a few $100s on ammo. But I got that SAR. You know, I didn't know no better, man. I didn't know that SAR was, okay, SAR. Yeah, SAR's nice, but you could have got some better options for that money. You know, and I think a lot of these gun stores, they know that we don't know no better. They can tell right away if you're green. And more power to them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about making money. You know, yes, these are some beautiful tools that we have at our disposal and that we have as freedoms, as citizens in this country. You can go out and do the same thing. But they do cost money and you will be sold. And so it's like you need to get as much experience, as much information, and do as much research as humanly possible before you go out and make that purchase. And don't skimp. Because I think what I also started doing was, I'm going to start being cheap. And see, I'm going to get into the next gun. Now, right around $3,000. The next gun I ended up buying was a Taurus G3C. A Taurus G3C. And I know a lot of y'all have heard about that. That is probably, if I'm being honest, that's probably the gun that I missed the most. Just in terms of, because it was a few things. The gun, I think it was an OD green. That was the first thing. It was just a random, you know, it was like the first gun that I had bought that was kind of like a different color. Wait, was it? No, I'm sorry. It was black. I'm sorry, it was all black. But I got the appendix carry rig holster that had the part for the gun and the part for the extended mag. It had an extra mag, and it was appendix carry. Now, mind you, I wasn't even carrying at this time, but it just looked cool. It was OD green. It was OD green. And then the G3C came with like 3 magazines. It was only like $300, like $350. It was cheap. You know, I'm cleaning it. I'm racking the slide. I'm going to the range. I'm shooting it. It was fairly accurate. It wasn't giving me a whole lot of malfunctions or anything. It just seemed like a good gun. And for what I paid for it, which was only like $350 again, and then you go to the gun guy, you know, the store or whatever, and you're trying to get some money because you fell on hard times. You're trying to look around like, what can I sell in this house? I need some money right now. That's the point I was at, because I had lost my job. Things were going bad. And that's what ends up happening, guys. You know, a lot of people, they got guns, but then they bought them too quick. So then when bad times come, they end up looking at those guns and they're like, I got to get rid of some of these guns. And so there's a lot of people out there that can get guns for pennies on the dollar damn near. Usually it's the gun store. And so that's what happens. But anyway, man, when I tried to sell that G3C back, I probably only got like $150 for it. So when I look at what I got back for it, and then when I look at the fact that I'm probably going to buy another one again, it just feels like such a waste. But like I said, these are the things that we go through as gun owners. You're going to have to go through these ups and downs and bump your head up against a wall a few times before you have these aha moments. But the G3C was a great gun. It was compact. It fit my hand. When I shot it, it wasn't jumping out my hand, kind of like the Car K9. It was something about it. It wasn't super heavy. And then when you do your research on Taurus, you realize that Taurus, they just work. They're a good budget option, and they're good guns. So I'm gonna go ahead and rock with Taurus. I'm probably have several more Tauruses. There's a lot of stuff I want. I made a list. There's a lot of stuff I want. But if you're gonna get the stuff you really want, you need to get a safe. You need to get a big, beautiful safe, which I haven't gotten yet. I got a little bitty safe, which can hold about 5 or 6 guns. But you know, I want to get the big, beautiful one, the one that you can hold like 35 guns, and I can put all my stickers on it. You know, you see the YouTube videos, everybody. You know, it's just so beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. And you can put more than just guns in there. You can put jewelry and, you know, sensitive documentation. You can put your little safe in there. Ain't nobody gonna steal it from you, because people will try to steal anything that's not nailed down. That's one thing you got to realize, man. People will steal from you, bro. Do not trust people. Don't even give them the opportunity to see, man. And, you know, you don't have to take my word for it. Just live a little while. Live a little while and have some stuff pop up missing, and you trying to figure out who in the hell took it, because the only people that was around was family. And you're like, wait, I know my family wouldn't do this. They know I need this. They don't give a damn. But I digress. The Taurus G3C was a good weapon, a good gun, and I'm mad I sold it. Now let's get into the next gun that I'm super mad I sold. It was another Ruger, and it was a Ruger SR. What was it? A Ruger SR 45? Damn, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a limited edition. The gun cost about $900. The gun was a 1911. It was all metal. It was a 9mm. It only held, I think it only held 10. It wasn't double stack. But when I tell you how smooth it was, just, you know, the slide, and now cleaning it was a bitch, because it was just like, damn. When I first took it apart, I'm like, damn, I thought these kind of broke down like my other guns. Man, that damn thing, something popped off and flew over here. I'm like, holy shit. This damn gun, man. And I think that's just 1911s. Like, you got to know how to clean those, because once you start taking stuff apart, you better know what you're doing. It's going to be hell trying to put it back together again. But again, these are all things that we learn as we go through the motions and go through the process. But that gun right there, I remember I showed a buddy of mine that gun, because I got a good friend of mine. He has some land in Henry County, and we go out there and shoot sometimes. Well, we were all out there. Everybody brought their guns to go shoot. And I showed him one of the guns that I bought with a credit card. I'm out there flexing like I got money like that. I ain't have money like that. Gun costs $900. Supposed to be a limited edition. It's a 1911. He was just sitting there marveling at the gun, just looking at it. Like, damn, man. This shit nice as hell, bro. I was like, yeah, man. Appreciate it, bro. But he was a gun guy. I didn't even realize what I had. But it was just such a beautiful gun. And then when I went to the range and was shooting, it was so damn accurate. The recoil was very minimal. And it was just so perfect. Like, and I had to sell it. And so when it was time to sell it, I was like, I could probably get $600 for this, because I paid $950 for it. Surely they'll give me $650. I've only got 100 rounds through it. I oil it every damn day. They gave me like $400 for it. I was so mad. I was like, man. And then they'll tell you, they're like, I mean, you're welcome to, you know, go on one of these websites and try to get somebody else to buy it. You're welcome. They'll tell you, you're welcome to go out and do that on your own. But you sitting there looking at them, you're like, you know what, man? A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, man. Give me the money so I can go on about my business, man. And they said, all right, let's go ahead and do the paperwork. And you and them both know that you made a mistake when you bought that gun. But they also know that you're making a mistake right now selling it. They know you're going through hard times. They see it all over your face, because they've seen so many guys just like you. And it's just a fact of life, man. Okay, where am I right now? I need to make a right. But yeah, man, that gun was about $900. So roughly we're at about $4,000 in guns that I purchased. So this has been an expensive journey. I've learned a lot, but whew, it's expensive. Would I take it back? Probably not. Uh-oh, I made the wrong turn. Let me make a U-ey. I'm gonna bust a U-ey on them real quick. My bad, cuz. Where are we? I know they looking at me like, sir, you don't belong here. You pulled into an area where you need a certain kind of decal. You ain't got it. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm going all the way back to my original conversation, which is, I'm gonna go ahead and devote some time and energy to Palmetto State Armory PSA daggers, and I'm going to take my time and I'm going to trick them out. I'm going to add weapon lights. I'm going to add optics. I'm going to get to know these guns because, see, and I advise you all to go on PSA's website, Palmetto State Armory website, so that you can see all of the different deals that they have. Because, see, what Palmetto State did is they set it up where you can buy parts of your gun and then put it together on your own. And see, for a while I was thinking, man, I ain't got time to be trying to put parts together and all of this. But if you know how to clean a gun, you'll know how to put the parts together. It's not that deep. So that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I've already bought slides. No, I'm sorry. I bought frames. I bought 3 frames. The full-size frame, the compact frame, and the Dagger Micro frame. All black. 3 frames. And I bought 1 slide. I think it's the SW3 black slide. Beautiful slide. So beautiful. When you see it in person, you're like, damn. It's much nicer than it looks on the website even. The only thing is when you buy it piece by piece like that, you got to buy everything piece by piece. Like you got to get your magazines separate. But the magazines are only like, $15 or whatever. And I heard they also use Glock mags. But again, I've never owned Glock. Because see, a lot of people think buying a Glock clone is almost sacrilegious. Like, you just don't do stuff like that. But again, I haven't been brainwashed by Glock. And I think people can easily get brainwashed by Glock because Glocks just don't fail. They shoot so well to the point where you're putting thousands and thousands of rounds downrange and you're not having any hiccups, you're not having any issues whatsoever. The modularity when it comes to Glocks, there's so many parts that are compatible with Glock. People are tricking out their Glocks, making them look perfect. And people just fall in love with their guns, man. Glock in particular. And then Glock, they come in so many different calibers. They have so many different types. It's just such a beautiful thing. But again, I never got caught up in that. So for me, going out and buying a PSA dagger, it does not affect me not one bit. I don't feel like it's a betrayal of any kind, because some people have been shooting Glocks their whole life, man, since the early 80s. Because that's when Glock first came out. So that's what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to end up getting a slide for each one of my frames. So essentially, I'm going to end up with, because remember, they're Glock clones. So essentially, I'm going to end up with the Glock 19, which is the compact frame. I'm going to end up with the Glock 45, which is essentially the full-size frame, which holds 17 rounds plus 1. I'm going to end up with the Glock 43X, which is essentially, the micro dagger is essentially a Glock 43X, but it's better because the magazine is double stacked. It can hold 15 rounds, whereas a Glock 43X can only hold 10 rounds. And I know I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but those are the 3 guns that I'm going to get. Then next, they have something called the PSA Saber Dagger, which is kind of like, it's still a Glock clone, but it's like the pimped out version, you know, where they've got the camouflage. It's just so beautiful, it doesn't make any freaking sense. The best thing you can do is just go on the website and see for yourself, man. But anyway, I've been talking for a while. Oh, and the next one I'm gonna get is the PSA Rock. It's not even 9mm. It's shooting something crazy. I don't even remember the name of the cartridge, but it holds like 23 or something crazy. It's a handgun. Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All those guns that I just named, all 5 of them, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna own all of them, and I'm not gonna spend hardly a fraction of what I was spending before on all them damn guns. I'm doing it different this time. I'm doing it smarter. I'm not spending all my money on the BS. I'm getting some stuff that's tried and true, something that I can grow with, build with. We're gonna start over. Go to the range, take my time, and have a little fun. Well, this is Malcolm. You're on Malcolm Talks. Make sure you go visit my bushcraft channel, MBD Bushcraft and Survival. Comment down below. I'm gonna holler at you guys next time. Peace.